My name is NonStopAntonio, and today we are going to be talking about Superman and Lois Season 3, Episode 2. We're going to review it, then break it down. So let's jump into my episode breakdown of Superman and Lois. Welcome to NonStopAntonio, where I talk about everything nerdy. I love Marvel, DC, and anime, and if you do too, I hope you enjoy this video. This episode had some amazing acting performances. Specifically when it came to Lois Lane, played by Elizabeth Tulloch. She did an amazing job showing the raw emotion coming from Lois this entire episode. This episode starts off with her going to the doctors, going through a bunch of tests, and it makes you really wonder what's going on, and then she seemingly hides it from Clark the entire episode. And you could tell that she's trying to hide something. She's trying not to let herself break down. She's trying to put on a strong face to make sure she can do her job, and it's very, very heart-wrenching when it comes out, because in order to save the judge's life, she lets it all out. She says that she's faced something that seems impossible, uncontrollable, but you can always try to stand up and go against it, something that seems unstoppable. And she reveals, in this biggest reveal, that she's diagnosed with breast cancer, and she has such an emotional moment with Clark in Superman form after, which was just so well done. And then as soon as we get to the end of the episode and we get to the boys, and she tells them, it was just such an emotional scene. Everyone did a fantastic job dealing with this. And I can't wait to see how they portray this story going forward into the season, because this is going to be a major plot point, especially since she's not going to be pregnant. It's a lot harsher and a lot more stuff to deal with. This episode didn't have a lot of action except for Onomatopoeia's scene, which having them just blow up everything and killing George, pretty cool, and I can't wait to see how the powers are used a little bit more. But this episode was more of just filled with the kids having fun and being kids, and then Lois and Clark going through some tough times. But let's jump into the breakdown and talk about that plot. So first of all, we'll continue with the Lois and Clark stuff because we'll roll right into that. Because Lois and Clark go to see that judge who will release Henry Miller, and it looks like that she was pressured to release him by Bruno Mannheim and his goons, because his goons have been watching her. And she goes to jump off the building because of that. She thinks she's gonna die because it looks like Bruno Mannheim is trying to hide something. He's manipulating the system around him so he can do what he wants. And the thing is, when Superman goes and confronts him, I like how Bruno Mannheim knows he's in the city and yells out to him to come. Because he's not threatened by Superman, he's not scared of him. He'll face the Man of Steel directly face to face, and he is not worried whatsoever. And I found it really interesting that Bruno Mannheim is standing there telling Superman that he hasn't been proven to be doing anything wrong. He's not the leader of Intergang, even though we all know he is from the comics. But he really shows that he's not threatened by what Superman's doing. He doesn't think anyone's gonna be able to prove that he's this evil dude because he's been helping everyone in suicide slums. He even talks about how Superman has not been there. He has not helped them, but Bruno Mannheim has been the hero of the slums. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here because he's obviously controlling the people of the slums and he's trying to manipulate them and doing what he wants. He even drops how he wasn't able to rise up like Morgan Edge and Lex Luthor. That's his second name drop in 2 episodes of Lex Luthor, and I'm kind of curious to see when we're going to see him, but that whole point of their episode was very interesting. And then when Superman hears that the judge is about to jump off the building, of course he flies over to go help her, but that's when he finds out about Lois's cancer, and they share that amazing moment. My first thought though when they were hugging was the fact that, you got cameras all around watching them, but to be fair, in this world, and with Superman and Lois have a relationship, they know each other, they're good friends in everyone's eyes. They don't know Superman and Clark are the same person. So in reality, if anyone looks at it, they're gonna think, oh, it's just Superman comforting his friend. But let's jump into the kids now, because the kids go on their own little adventure themselves. And there's a couple of things I kind of forgot when we went into this. We had Natalie and Sarah go on an adventure to Metropolis to go to this party, so Natalie could meet a guy that she knew on her Earth, but didn't know on this one. And Jonathan gets an invite from his ex-girlfriend Eliza, who I honestly completely forgot about from season 1, because when they moved from Metropolis to Smallville, she dumped him, and I completely forgot she existed. But it turns out the whole reason she asked him to go there was to try to get back together with him, which was really weird. And then she tries to have a little bit of fun with him in the room. However, and he turns around, he's like, I have a girlfriend. I thought we were just friends. And she's like, well, no one needs to know. I'm like, God damn, this girl is trying to manipulate Jonathan and possibly ruin his life. She's not a good person. And then you have Jordan running into Sarah, and I love how he kind of bumps into one of those rich dudes, and he gets this drink spilt all over him. And instead of Sarah getting mad at Jordan for showing up at a party, seemingly looking like he might be stalking her, they just have a good friend moment, and she wants to be close friends with him, and it's the only person she's ever dated that she wants to continue being friends with. So I'm looking forward to seeing them develop into this friendship, because Jordan is obviously in love with her, but there's a good chance he'll slowly learn to just see her as a friend. And you know, honestly, with shows like this, she'll probably end up falling for him again when he falls for someone else, and then there'll be a love triangle. And I love when Sarah and Jordan kick the rich guy's ass at beer pong, and the guys playing beer pong try to like talk shit, like, oh, you're just using water, you're not even playing with beer. And they're like, who the hell are you? Well, I was waiting for one of them to go deck Jordan and then break their hands because Jordan is the boy of steel. And I was just ready for something bad to happen there because they just kept saying Jordan's a beer bitch and everything else, being real pricks. And I love by the end of the episode, Jordan went and froze his brand new truck and the whole driveway. It makes me wonder, did no one notice that? Like, seriously, did no one notice a kid blowing ice onto him? But still, it was still pretty fun to watch these kids just be kids and go out and have a good time. Now let's talk about the bad guys, because Onomatopoeia came in again, and this is a she this time. I thought it was a he originally, but after getting a better look, it's a she. And she goes after the ex-mayor George, because he obviously had some ties to Bruno Mannheim to keep Smallville afloat, and he was going against that. Onomatopoeia seems like she has some powers of her own. In the comics, she doesn't have any powers, and they use weapons to fight. So this seems to be a little bit interesting. I guess Bruno Mannheim might have possibly given them powers. So they have like, it looks like sound waves, but also they're able to construct like bullet holes, because it looks like George got shot with a shotgun because now he's dead, but there's no bullets yet again. So it makes me wonder what Onomatopoeia's powers really do, because again, they look like sound waves, because when she goes after Lana and John, she obliterates the room, surprisingly not killing Lana and John. I thought you would think that, hey, we're going after these guys, I'm a murderer, let's just kill them. But no, she leaves them and just takes the USB that they found, which is just a whole other story that they're bringing up now. Obviously, the mayor was up to something. He hid it inside the office. Lana and John found it, but they couldn't see what was on it before they got ambushed by Onomatopoeia. And during that whole scene too, they seemingly are setting up John and Lana to get together. And I think it might happen. They seem to have a little bit of chemistry there, and I'm curious to see what happens, because now they're both single parents, and they could probably bond over that. Then that leads to the end where Bruno Mannheim kills Henry Miller, and Onomatopoeia speaks and says that she saw John Henry Irons, who she killed, and he's now back alive, because obviously she doesn't know that he's a doppelganger from another universe, and it's going to be interesting to find out why they killed him, because now we know who did. It's very interesting, because now they're going to be probably going after John Henry Irons, finding out about Natalie, possibly going after her too, and everyone around him, because he's still alive. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that kind of stuff, and what they're setting up for the villains. They killed Henry Miller, Onomatopoeia is going to be going after John Henry Irons, and Bruno Mannheim has some kind of plan that we still don't know what's really going on. I'm very intrigued by this series. This season just seems to be setting up what each character is going to be doing going forward, because now the Kent family is going to have to be dealing with Lois's stage 3 inflammatory breast cancer. It's going to be interesting to watch her fight this with her family by her side. However, the only thing I was kind of questioning is why they can't just bring her to the fortress to heal her, because Superman most likely has the technology that could heal her. I'm hoping that gets brought up, because obviously when you have these superheroes, they do have tech that can usually heal stuff. I mean, there's a possibility it just can't heal cancer, or she doesn't want to use it because it's alien technology and she wants to fight it on her own. But that scene with the whole family dealing with it right there and then was done phenomenally, and I can't wait to see how the family deals with it going forward. Now let's talk about the episode 3 trailer, because it looks like it's not real. And what I mean by that is that in this trailer, it looks like Lois is continuing to look into Bruno Mannheim regardless of her condition. And even Chrissy's like, you should be taking your health priority, but she's not. And then it looks like Lois Lane dies because the Daily Planet is crumbling and goes to fall on her. And I'm thinking after watching this, it's probably more like a vision or something that Clark is seeing as Superman as he's fighting someone. Because it just seems kind of off that Lois would be at the bottom of the Daily Planet and it would be crumbling down on top of her. So something else is clearly going on, but I'm surprised we're already jumping into that. Because this episode felt a little bit slower, but I'm hoping when we get into the next one, it's going to be moving a little bit faster just because of all the emotional stakes that were set up during this episode. What did you think of this episode of Superman and Lois? How did you feel about the storyline? What do you think Bruno Mannheim's goals are? Let me know down in the comments. If you saw any Easter eggs or details I might have missed, put those in the comments as well, because I'm interested in learning them as much as you are. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later.